Hello, I'm Michael Mann for Bike Social, and you join me here at the Wollaston BMW Motorrad dealership in Northampton. And we're going to find out today what it takes to run a dealership. Is it all about selling fancy new bikes to customers? I don't think so. Most of us will have stepped foot inside a dealership at some point, whether it's buying a bike, whether it's test running a bike, looking at products, helmets for example, or just talking about how one can sell a bike and what your bike is worth. We're going to talk to Richard Higgs, who's the general manager here, so let's go and find out. Here he is, Richard, hi.
Good afternoon, Mike, how are you?
Yes, good, thank you very much. Are you?
Yeah, very good. Welcome to Wollaston Bike.
Brilliant, thanks for letting us in.
Yeah, no problem.
So you wouldn't normally allow people in the showroom?
No, so currently showroom's closed. Service department is open for essential repairs. So in essence, we are shut today. And that's why the showroom looks as it does with all the chairs, so that it's all blocked off. Obviously, unfortunately, we're going to be wearing masks while we're having a chat, but that's not a problem. It's the new world at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, health comes before videos, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So what I think we do, if we have a little, I'll show you around. Any questions, you know, just ask away.
I'm really interested in finding out a bit more about history, first of all.
Okay.
How long's Wollaston been here? How long's it been on the site? How long have you been here?
So, well, I've been with Wollaston since 1991. Been with BMW for 40 years. I know I don't look that old, but there you go, I am. And
fresh out of the pram.
Yeah, that's right. Wollaston on this site has been here since 2000. Prior to that, they've been selling cars and motorcycles since the mid-60s. Yeah. Where it gets its name from a small village in Northamptonshire called Wollaston. And from that point, they just kept the name as they grew. The atmosphere in here is very relaxed, different textures, different colours. The main showroom, new and used showroom, and generally, you know, we've got between 25 and 30 bikes in the showroom. It's a little bit crammed today because we've got the barriers up to not allow anybody into the showroom.
What proportion would that be used versus new?
So we're selling 2 used bikes to every new bike we sell. Last year we sold just under 700 bikes.
700?
Yeah.
Incredible.
So it's a huge business. Obviously, off the main showroom here, we've got our biker cafe. And again, unfortunately, at the moment, that is closed. That's a huge draw in the summer. This is normally filled with people in the summer with coffees and
nice
bacon
big
rolls.
space, isn't it? You've got the parking outside. It's just a natural attraction for those who are coming.
It's an ideal destination for, you know, if somebody wants to come for a ride. We've got a bit of a heritage area, and obviously new on the blocks at the moment is the R18.
R18, and you've got the Classic there as well.
R18 Classic, which has just come out, and those are our latest additions. A little bit of a move for BMW. They dipped their toe into the cruiser market back in the late 90s. But not had much success. But I think with this bike, we're going to be great. I
haven't yet to ride the R18 actually. I'm looking forward to having a go on one of those.
Absolutely stunning. I think one thing, you know, we're quite an established business. We've got a very loyal customer base. You know, we do quite a lot of social. The cafe drags quite a lot of local bikers in. We do quite a lot of ride outs. There's a lot of local clubs that use that as a base to start their ride-outs from. We get involved with the world of BMW in terms of European tours. You know, we regularly take 30 customers to the BMW biker meet in Garmisch.
Oh yeah, that's important for you, isn't it? As a almost like a focal point of the community of the local area to try and get all those motorcyclists, all those enthusiasts here. They don't presumably have to be a BMW owner to come and join in those kind of things. But
you know, there's lots of people out there that buy bikes and then they've got nowhere to go and they don't know where to go and what to do. So I think for us, the social side of it brings like-minded people together. And you know, we've forged some great relationships over the years with customers. You know, and you know, that really does sell us more and more bikes over the years, you know.
I guess the essence of this film is about demonstrating that that owning or running a dealership is not just about having shiny brand new models and waiting for the customers to come in and say, oh, I'd like one of those, please, or I'd like to test ride one of those at least.
Absolutely.
You've got so many different areas of the business that you could think
yeah,
of.
there's lots to it. There's all the nice bits about it, but there is the sort of the boring bits, as I like to say, your spreadsheets and all sorts of stuff, accounts reviews that all come with it. But I think for us, our main focus is the customer, because without customers, we haven't got a business. And second focus is staff, because if you've not got the right staff, then you've not got a business. And for us, all the staff in the department are all keen motorcyclists, they're all passionate, and that does come across with customers. I
suppose you need a big skill set as well, don't you, when you're working across a manufacturer with a range from like an M1000RR to an R18 to a 310 GS. You've got to have...
You know, each of the sales guys will have their individual area of interest or expertise, and I think customers, you know, will find that, you know, when they're talking. And for me, we never really want to sell anything to somebody that's not right for them. So that's where the sort of qualification comes in with the sales execs. It's about slowing the process down. Customers can get quite excited. They want, you know, I want that bike. When you actually dig in, why do you want that bike? What are you going to do with it? You know, what sort of riding do you do? What have you had in the past? What did you like? What didn't you like? Sometimes somebody comes in with an idea that they want that and they end up going out with that. So I think for us that's important. Again, it is all about the customer.
So what else can we see here? We've got a load of new bikes and used bikes in the middle there, and what else? There's a bit of a...
So if we wander around, I'll show you into our after sales area. So we've split the sales team at the moment. We've got half working from home, half working from here. Everything at the moment is done online, digitally. We're not allowed to open the showroom, so it's a case of you know, doing everything the modern way. And I think what's happened is the lockdown in March made us sit up and think, actually, we've got to continue running the business. How do we do it? And
were you responsible for coming up with those kind of ideas of how to run it, or were you sort of directed by BMW UK, BMW Motorrad UK?
Initially, we you know, you get advice from BMW UK, obviously, but I think we were quick off the mark to identify that there's still customers out there wanting to buy bikes. Even in lockdown, there's people at home sat with their iPads looking at bikes. So I think for us, it was grasp the technology and start using it very quickly. So, you know, in terms of virtual appointments, talking to customers, rather than just over email or on the phone, you know, get that face-to-face contact on a Zoom call. Everybody's got Zoom, Facebook, WhatsApp or whatever. So for us, it was you know, something completely new, but we've adapted to it quite quickly. Did
you find the customers adapted as well? They were keen to...
Some do, some don't. We've got quite a broad customer range. Having bikes like the S1000RR and, you know, the Heritage, it does give you a broad spectrum of different customers. You know, we tend to, whatever form of communication the customer wants, that's where we go, whatever they're comfortable with. I've spent the last 30 years trying to get people to walk through the door, and the last year seems to have been stopping people coming through the door. But again, we have to find different ways. You know, in terms of after lockdown with demos, it's sanitising bikes before and after every use, just to give A, that confidence that it's safe, and B, you know, to make sure it is safe. And I think that worked really, really well. We had a great 3 months after lockdown, pent-up demand, great summer. So, you know, I don't think we'll ever go back to how we were originally. We've learned lots of lessons, and I think that's just going to help us in the future.
Do you feel like you're almost ready for action once again? Do you think it's as soon as, I'm going to say the floodgates, but as soon as we're allowed to operate at some kind of normality, the bikes are going to be flying out the showrooms again?
I think as we move into the spring, we're already seeing signs of people desperate to get out on bikes. And for us, we're desperate to get people back into the showrooms, just to look at the great product, do some test rides. We can't wait to come out of this, and you know, I think we'll be stronger and fitter as a business moving forward.
You've got some great new models to show off as well, haven't you? You've got the 40th anniversary GSs, you've got Scrambler, R9T range, sorry, you've got M1000RR, of course.
You know, when I look at how BMW have progressed over the last 25 years, you know, I'd have never dreamed 25 years ago that we'd have the model range that we've got now, and it certainly attracts a broader range of customers. You know, we've got a bike for everybody. Electric scooter right up to a, you know, K1600, GTLE, bagger. You know, it's just fantastic. And I think, you know, for us, the M1000RR, that's a halo bike for the franchise. That's just going to bring us, you know, even more interest into the brand. What
is the most popular model? Is it the 1200 GS, 1250 GS?
Yeah, well, 1250 GS range, I have to say, is, you know, it's one of those bikes. A lot of people think it's ugly. Actually, when you jump on it, it's just a fantastic all-round bike, best bike on the road, and, you know, it makes an average rider look fantastic. So great for me, and it does a bit of everything. You know, you can see it on a track day. You can whiz around the mountains if you want to puddle around the lanes. It's just a good all-round bike.
Yeah, I think you can handle the physical size of the thing. Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah. You've got the power, you've got the comfort, you've got the technology, the touring ability, and so on. Presumably, you work on a calendar year in terms of model years. When you know the 21 model year range, for example, do you sit down with your guys here and you say, right, well, I think we'll order 3 M1000RRs and we'll have 5 1250 GS TEs?
There's so many different options to order in terms of colours, spec, and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's exactly that. You know, we sit down round the table with a cup of coffee. What do we think we want? What's the customer demand for a certain model? And that's something that we can do, you know, that we revisit that every month. So if a certain model's not selling quite so well, we can turn the tap off on that and increase, you know, if we get more demand for an RR, then we can increase demand on that. We can also swap stock between dealers as well. So it's a small network, 45 dealers, so we've got good relationships with a lot of those. And
45 Motorrad dealers in the UK?
Motorrad dealers in the UK, yeah. Okay. So, you know, if we want something that's not quite the right spec, but another dealer's got it, you know, everyone knows everybody, and you know, what goes around comes around. So, you know, they'll probably want one of ours at some other point. So it works quite well.
So in terms of stock turnover, you said you sold over 700 models, didn't you, in the last calendar year? I find that incredible. So it's for what we see here, it's just going to keep on turning.
Everything that we do is 2-year warranty, emergency service, BMW Premium approved. Yeah, so cracking business really.
Yeah. That's just the way that dealerships have developed, I guess, over the last few years, 5-6 years, maybe more, just in terms of financial packages, products, accessories. I guess are you under some pressure to sell accessories, to sell financial packages?
Yeah, pressure is not the right word really. In terms of finance packages, really what the customer needs. Is it finance? Is it HP? Is it PCP? Or there's no right one reason really, you know, for each individual customer's individual. In terms of accessories, yes, we have accessory targets. Everything these days has got a target, but we've got a great range of clothing, 0% finance we can do on clothing and stuff like that, just to make it easier access to everybody. And yeah, generally, lots of people come, they buy the bike, the helmet, the gloves, the boots, the jacket. Yeah, they buy into the brand. You're buying into a brand, you're buying into the guys, you know, first name terms with customers, and that's what keeps them coming back.
So servicing as well, you have a service department here, that must presumably that's still open then, is it?
That's one part of the business that is allowed to be open for essential repairs. So we have been working throughout lockdown. We have got, we've been working on 2 shifts, utilising the furlough scheme, because obviously it's only essential work that we're doing, so we're not up to our normal level of business that we would be in a normal year. So we've split the service team, so it's a week on and a week off.
What influences sales, would you say? Is it, dare I say it, media?
There's lots of things. I think there's, for instance, when the TT, that had a big influence on RR sales.
So Hickey wins. It literally is win on Sunday, sell on Monday, or whatever.
Not quite, but it does focus the media on that, and we do get some kickbacks from that. I mean, obviously, going back years, one of the biggest things that helped BMW along the way with the GS was the Charlie Boorman, Ewan McGregor long way round. So I have to say that did spark up an interest in adventure motorcycling in general, and you know, never looked back really. So that was a real success for motorcycling in general, actually.
So as a general manager of a motorcycle dealership, what are the highlights must be surely when you see a happy customer ride off into the distance? You know?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, for us, we're selling 800 bikes a year. For each customer, that's probably one purchase in 3 or 4 years, and it's a special thing for them. So we have to make sure that that is a special day for them when they come and collect. And to see them ride away on a brand new bike is fantastic. What's even better is to then see them coming back in a couple of years to buy another one. Yeah. The nice thing with motorcycling is it does attract lots of individuals from different worlds. So you could be talking to a managing director one day or a CEO of a huge company, and the following day you're talking to a lorry driver. Yeah. And they've all got that one common interest, which is fantastic. The service department, you know, we run a couple of service advisors, assistant service manager with Jack there, behind the screens. And again, unfortunately in lockdown, we've thinned all our clothing down because we're not allowed to let anybody try anything on. So if anybody wants to buy anything, they buy it up front, take it home, try it on. If it doesn't fit, they can bring it back, and then we have to quarantine that for a period of time.
Give a good dosage of spray.
That's correct, yeah. So yeah, really, it's a one-stop shop for everything, really. Hello. Morning, chaps. How are we? So this is where all the important stuff happens.
PDIing and
yeah, and repairs,
servicing,
anything.
MOTs.
Yep, a nice environment, 6 ramps.
It's like the dream garage, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So these guys must be busy like all the time. There's just constant flow.
Constant flow of work, yeah. And even in winter, it's I mean, it's tailed off a bit in lockdown because obviously, you know, you're not allowed to go anywhere. But you know, if somebody wants an MOT or a tyre or a service, then we're still doing all that sort of stuff. Purely selling the amount of bikes we sell keeps these guys busy as well.
But again, it's just one of those extra parts of your job, isn't it? Of your role as the general manager here to look after all the stuff.
Well, I think this is the most important part of the business, because if we don't get this right, then we haven't got the credibility. And I always say this is our best sales executive, because if you've got a great after sales department that provide great service, that in itself will mean they want to come back and buy bikes from you. That's been our sort of logic over the last sort of 25 years really, is look after your staff, look after your customers, the rest of it should take care of itself.
Rich, in terms of like kind of social commentary, obviously you'll have your own social media channels, but there'll be other areas out there, other places online where people can comment. Do you keep an eye on that kind of stuff? Do you make sure that that's a bit of a conversation you have?
Yeah. We're always interested in anybody's comments, and you know, any feedback's great feedback as far as I'm concerned, because that's you know, whether it be good or bad. We obviously don't like bad feedback, but if we've got bad feedback, I want to know why, look into it, and then we can put it right. And you know, we don't get an awful lot of negative feedback, but like I say, you know, you're dealing with so many people every day, inevitably something might go wrong, and if people want to air it on social media, then that's fine, it's within their right to do. We will respond, you know, if somebody's got a problem, then we'll just respond politely and just say, just give us a shout and we can deal with it type thing. We don't get involved in any sort of you know, arguments online or anything like that. It's not the way to deal with things.
Richard, you mentioned earlier there's about 45 odd BMW Motorrad dealerships in the UK, and then that you do anywhere between 700 to 800 bikes a year, sales-wise. I presume that's new and used.
It is, yeah.
How does that compare? How do you rank? Are you competitive with the others?
Top 4 or 5 in terms of new sales, and used. We're probably in you know, the top 3. There's not, you know, there's probably 3 or 4 dealers that are very, very similar size, do similar numbers, similar size businesses around the UK.
Is that down to location, do you think? Size, space, customer base?
We've grown the business over a number of years. It was started off from the corner of a showroom, and it's grown into what you see now. So I think for us it's the evolving of our business, and Northamptonshire has always been a really big biking area. So and we attract customers from, you know, Leicestershire, Warwickshire, Cambridge. So, you know, we're very central.
What does the future hold for you, this dealership, BMW bikes?
When you look at the models that we've got, the model range that we've got, and then the technology moving forward with the electric stuff, I think we'll start to see that coming online over the next 18 months, 2 years. I think yeah, we're ideally placed. You know, there's huge investment at the factory in technology. They've always been a brand that pushes the boundaries of technology, and that's clearly the way forward for me. So yeah, I think it's positive. There's more and more people getting into bikes, and I think, you know, particularly recently with the lockdown, that has you know, people have gone, actually, let's buy a bike, we can go out. There's no better socially distanced way of having some fun. So yeah, I think it's very positive for us.
I didn't notice any electric charging points. Have you got some already installed?
Yeah, we've got plenty of electric points. Currently, we only have the C Evolution scooter. You know, very small numbers in our area. London, Oxford do really well, but I think, you know, that's going to grow. Lots of motor manufacturers are moving towards we're going to be fully electric in 10 years and all that. So that's just going to follow on in the bike industry, I've no doubt.
What are your biggest challenges as a dealer?
Getting great staff and keeping great staff is a challenge, you know, which is why we do try and look after staff. For me, that's the most important thing. If you've not got the right people, then, you know, you're not going to keep the customers happy. So that's probably number one. Used bike supply can be a bit of a challenge. We've seen quite recently a lot of our bikes going abroad with exchange rates and stuff like that. So I think that's not great for our industry in the UK. One of the other biggest challenges is getting younger people into motorcycling. If we can crack that, it needs, you know, we need to sort of make it cool for the younger kids and make it affordable for the younger kids to attract them into it. If we're not careful, you know, there's only so long we can continue selling to the same people. So I think that is a big challenge. I know the MCIA are doing lots of work with that, so you know, we'll see what happens with that.
I'm interested in how you cope or how you operate when customers come in and they're kind of, you can almost see them, I bet they're all psyched up, ready to go with their negotiating skills, and they've been practicing at home in front of the mirror about getting all sorts of discounts. Do you recognise that? Is that kind of part and parcel of your daily life here?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a general thought process in the general public that, you know, we have massive margins in motorcycles, and, you know, we've got thousands of pounds worth of profit that we can give away, and they come in negotiating a deal. But the truth of the matter is, it's a marginal business, and we don't have thousands of pounds to give away. So really, for us, it's about, yes, there's going to be some negotiation, but ultimately, you know, best price isn't always the best deal. You know, and you know, we're here to look after customers. They're getting you know, if they're buying a used bike, they're getting as near a new bike as they can. You're getting a 2-year manufacturer-backed warranty with emergency service, with no worries, and ultimately, you know, they're going to wander out of here, you know, in the knowledge that they've got a decent bike. So there's always going to be negotiation, but yeah, it's difficult. But we've got some professional sales execs that are used to all that, and generally speaking, we sort of get a balance between what the customer wants and what we need to, you know, to keep doing what we're doing. Because ultimately, you know, if we don't, we're here to make a profit. If we don't do that, then they've got nowhere to come.
What about used bike prices, particularly those who have a bike on PCP, in terms of how you value their bike at the end of that deal, and also how you would value, if I came in with my private bike you'd not seen before, I don't know, a Yamaha or a Ducati, let's say. Mm-hmm. How is there a sort of a standard?
Ultimately, there's lots of guides out there to sort of guide you in a direction of what you think that's worth, but ultimately it's worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. The market will dictate what you can sell it for. So there's some models that are less popular that will dictate, you know, the things cheaper, and there are more models that are more popular. So really for us it's experience of what we can sell stuff for. You know, we look at the competitors, we look at the current marketplace. You know, we're re-evaluating our used stock weekly, so and price adjusting it to the market, which is why we're so successful in selling so many used bikes. You know, the market will drive that. So for us, you know, there's no one simple matrix that says that bike is worth that amount of money, and it can vary during the year depending on seasonality and what's hot to trot at the moment. You know, so it's a moving picture. So yeah, it changes. If there's a very short supply of used bikes, then prices will generally stay higher. If there's a market's flooded with a certain particular model, then the prices will be driven lower, and that's just any market works like that.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for letting us in, for showing us around, and for giving us such great info, great insight. Well, I hope you've learned something. I certainly have. I learned that I don't want to be a motorcycle dealer, and I'll leave it to the experts. Look, if you've got any questions, ask us below, and I'm sure that Richard might be able to help us out, or I'll do my best to answer for you. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. That was on and recording, was it? So let's go and find out. Is that all right? Hurrah! What your bike is worth. We're going to go and find out. Oh, I've ballsed it up.